Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book, The Silent Salesman. No other than Mr. Mitch Carson. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Metz. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Well, Daniel, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me as a guest on your show. And I wrote this book in 2006 when I went the traditional route to uh, publish this book through John Wiley and Sons. I mean, I have a background. I've written 18 books total. This was my first published book with a major New York publisher, John Wiley and Sons. And I had created a lot of little books that I never even uploaded on Amazon. They were giveaways as a speaker from the stage to use them as baits of like, this is not available anywhere else. And you can only get it if you buy my system, my special book. That was the
Bundle.
way I leveraged books previously. Now I've got several books that I'm going to upload to Amazon as an independent publisher coming up. This one book, The Silent Salesman with John Wiley and Sons, was about 50,000 words, nonfiction category, in a niche market where it only was sold in for people in direct marketing. It involved unique direct mail pieces. We're more into the email marketing today, but direct mail was big at that point. It was starting to decline, but I was able to sell about 11,000 copies of this book through a traditional publisher. It was in bookstores. It then, of course, sold through Amazon, but it was all of the money went to the publisher because they gave me an initial advance when I wrote this book. It came to market in late 2008. Then, about 3 months later, I had a call from the publisher saying, would you like to have this book translated into German and then sold in Germany? So I would love to show you a copy of that.
Wow. Interesting, Mr.
Yeah.
Mitch.
So this was the book in English, which you've got up there right now, which is
Yes.
fantastic. And then it got translated into German, and my German sucks, so excuse me. It says Stumi Verkaufer, and then it is. Here's my name at the top, and it's hardbound. It was hardbound is also this one was hardbound, so it was hardcover. These two books, and this sold another 4,000 copies in the German market, which was a huge success for me, given that there are only 80 million German speakers in the world, or
Yes.
native German speakers. And that's a good home run because I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, you probably know this better than me since you specialize in books. The average published book, at least the last stat that I read about, sells about 1,000 copies. Published. Independent publisher, of course, a lot less in many cases, unless they know how to really market and push sales. But I
Yes.
was quite pleased with that. And I received another in royalties. I think my check was a $3,000 for the German version. Now, I never got any additional checks, but I'll take that as a nice home run to get out of the
Definitely.
gate with a published product, which took a long while to create.
Yes. So, Mr. Mitch Carson, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. And we are looking forward for more empowering books to come. So, what are the promotional products and why are they referred as a silent salesman?
Imagine getting a pen. You go to the bank to open an account, and the teller or the account person, the account representative who opens your bank account says, Mr. Lucas, we would like to earn your investment business. In addition to you opening your checking account here, I would like to give you a couple gifts coming from the Bank of British Columbia. And they will hand you a pen a very nice pen, not a little cheap plastic one, one that's got some weight, is quality. And here it is. Here's this pen. It's got our logo and our phone number for you in case you get lost and wonder where your bank is. Well, you can find us with this phone number. Ha ha, he he. And I've also included some Post-it notes with the name of the bank on it, so you can use these because many of our clients find these useful. And I've also gifted you a nice journal so a physical calendar, and you can journal daily in this workbook, this little booklet. It's 8.5 by 11, good size, and it's quality. It's got a hard cover on the front and on the back, and you can keep your journal here of your expenses as it relates to your spending daily. Some people find comfort in doing it manually, and we have a digital version for you as well. These are 3 useful products with the name of the bank on it. So when you come around to where should I invest my money, and sitting in front of you is the pen, Post-it notes, and the journal booklet that they provided you when you opened your checking account, because you weren't ready to invest your money then, but you just inherited $1 million from your aunt in the Philippines. And she said, oh, my favorite nephew, Daniel, just got, or 1 million pesos. Let's just call it pesos in that case. But that's still a lot of money.
Yes.
And she sends that to you. Then you go back and you think, you know what? They were very nice to me at the bank when I opened my account, and I'm going to go back to Judy Jones. She gave me a pen, she gave me Post-it notes, and she gave me this little booklet. So now that I'm ready, oh, by the way, these products have been selling you silently in the months since you received them. That's why I came up with the name Silent Salesmen, MEN, because you got 3 products. That's plural. So more than one man is men. So there were 3 products. So that's why it's MEN, guaranteed strategies for increasing sales and profits using promotional products. So my subhead supports the claim of selling silently. That's why I wrote the book and used that title. And it has worked fantastically. That's why I was in the business for more than 20 years. And I sold the business back in 2008 to Halo Branded Solutions because I had an ad agency which was behind this. And the reason I wrote the book was because it was a useful tool to open doors with high-level clients, because their perception of me went up in a major way because I was a published author, hardbound book with a major publisher. A lot different than my first book, which was a flimsy little 27,000 word book. Not bad, perfectly written. It's got my picture on the back. No QR code because it never was published. It was only a giveaway fancy business card. So that's how I got started in the publishing business. And subsequently, I've written a total of 18 books.
Wow. Congratulations, Mr. Mitz. So how can a promotional products effectively communicate a brand's message?
Well, let's go back to the bank. If you received a pen, which is plastic like this one that I'm holding up.
Yes.
And this is the Bank of, I don't know if you have one, British Columbia. I just made up that name of the bank. Okay.
Yes.
And and if they give you another plastic highlighter with there, that communicates a brand value based on the product that they're associated with. Let's assume the Bank of British Columbia serves the common people. Now let's talk about, I don't have a high-end pen handy, but if I were to hand out a pen that is high quality, like a Cross pen or a Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc is one that's understood. Very thick, heavy, about $100 minimum for a quality Mont Blanc pen. So if you became an elite client of the bank, one that brought in $1 million into the bank, do you think they would hand you a plastic pen like this or this? No way. They're going to hand you a Mont Blanc. That's brand congruency. Similarly, if you're to go and buy an engagement ring for your fiance, and I don't know what's in Canada, but I think you'll understand the purpose of what I'm going to say.
Yes.
You have a high-end store called Tiffany. So if you open up and you get down on one knee, Daniel, and you want to propose to Maria, and you get down on one knee and she opens up the box and says, Maria, you're my everything, and I want you forever. I've known you since our days in Manila. Here we are together, and I'm ready to spend the rest of my life with you. And you open up this box and hand it to her. It's in Tiffany paper, in a Tiffany box, blue and white. You are undoubtedly going to get a hell yes. Alternatively, Daniel, if you have a box and it's wrapped in brown paper and the diamond holding box, the small box, is tarnished and it's from Walmart. Do you have Walmarts in? Okay, so you do have Walmarts in Canada as well. Okay. If it comes with the diamond is Walmart, you're going to have a different reaction than one that came from Tiffany. So it's about brand congruency, staying consistent. You don't wear an Armani suit with beat up, scuffed up shoes from Florsheim. You're going to have equivalent quality. So that's what I'm referring to with maintaining brand congruency.
Very well said, Mr. Mitch. Very well said. And what are the key benefits of using promotional products for sales and marketing?
Essentially, it works silently. It's selling people because here's what I have found, Daniel. People buy when they're ready to buy. They
Yes.
won't resent you if they believe and feel they've made the decision to invest in you. If you push and push and push your product, your service on someone, they're going to have pushback. They might buy, but they will resent it and possibly refund later. Whereas when you gift somebody something and when the time is right to buy and you've given them, they feel obligated somewhat, maybe not consciously, unconsciously, but if you've gifted something to someone, you feel the need or the obligation to give back because that's how we are bred, especially in our respective cultures. In, let's just say, modern cultures, if you gift somebody, they're going to give back. That's what I'm referring to as the value from the contents of the book.
Yes. Give and take, people.
Yes.
So, how do promotional products build brand loyalty among customers?
It's a matter of people wanting to stay connected. I would say it's a good connector because it builds bridges, stronger bridges. And when you've gifted items to someone or if they feel that they run out of pads and you consistently gift somebody, here's a study that was done. And I'll share this as an example. It's not even an imprinted product, but it's the idea of gifting. There was a study done by Robert Cialdini on giving mints to people who are in a restaurant. A server or waiter, waitress would hand the check to a client at the end of their meal. Say, here it is, Mr. Lucas. And the typical tipping here in Las Vegas, where I live, is 20%. If you give less than that, they're going to think you're cheap. All right. However, if you give a mint on the pay stub right there, let's say on the tray that's handed to the client, so it's nicely presented, and you give a mint for each person. Let's say you're there with your friend or partner, you each get a mint. Studies prove that the tip amount goes up by about 5%. Simply by gifting somebody something that they didn't expect. There was no expectation. It was in addition to the service. Already people are tied to 20%. So it went up 5%. Here's what is also interesting: to garner a greater tip than 5%, the waiters put that down and said, here, they handed it to the people. Here's a little gift for you at the end. Thank you for coming and attending us. The waiter took 2 steps, turned around, came back, and presented 1 more mint each. Here's what happened: another 2% increase in the tip. People believed that they got more, double the dose of kindness, of free gifts. Now, what does that cost? Not even a quarter of a cent. It's so insignificant in terms of what the investment is for the restaurant owner. For the waiter, it's nothing, but it directly affects the paycheck of the waiter. A small gesture like that, and how it's carried out, you got to take a couple steps, turn around and say, you know what, you were really special. Please come back and see us soon. It's an
Definitely.
example. If you're in a business setting and you're selling, let's say you're in janitorial services and you're in a competitive contract situation, because oftentimes that's perceived as a commodity service, cleaning an office building after hours. If you're not employed, it's a small office building and it's too expensive to have their own janitorial service, so they have to contract it to people outside. And if every quarter or every month the owner of the janitorial service comes in to meet the person responsible, let's say it's the office manager, Judy Jones, and says, Judy, thank you so much for the service, and presents her a new pen, presents her a new stack of pads that she can hand out to everybody saying XYZ janitorial services, or maybe it's a little mini mop that's cute to leave on their desk, or a coffee mug with the name of the janitorial service, which keeps them in the loop. Isn't that a nice little gift? So when competitive bidding comes around from the CFO at the end of the year and says, you know what, I want you to bid out our janitorial service. We're spending $30,000 a year, and I want to see if we can cut expenses. Judy, who's in charge of that, might call you, who owns the service, and says, look, I've got a bid that's $3,000 a year. My CFO is putting the screws to me. Can you meet me a little bit less? Because of the relationship that was installed by giving. Do you want to give up $30,000 in business to a guaranteed client that's been with you? You are given the opportunity. Instead of having a closed bid, it's an open bid. She just revealed a company that she had no relationship with, came in for less money, but she informed you, and you have then the choice to make whether you adjust your bill down or not. That's just one of many examples of how effective gift giving is. It's essentially gift giving with an imprint.
It's better to give than to receive, people.
Essentially.
So, Mr. Mitch, what will be your advice for those first timer that they're having this industry, being a salesman?
Give without condition, and you will receive a lot. It's a universal truth in life. Give from your heart, and you can evaluate after a certain period of time if someone gives back or not. Any business is about relationship. You can have a transactional model, which is go and get the sale and then disappear, or you can build a relationship that is much stronger than a one-time sale. And focus on relationship and longevity. Are you looking for a customer, or are you looking for a client? A client will build you a wealthy book of business. Transactional salespeople burn out. It's better to get a reorder than searching for a new order.
Yes, for sure. So, what your short-term and long-term goals in writing?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What is your short-term and long-term goals in writing?
My short term goals and long term goals, I would say, are pretty congruent. I don't go out much longer than 6 months. So it depends on that. I focus on small successes on a daily basis. And what I put in writing is I create a daily task list at the end of the night, which I'm going to then focus on the next day. And doing this at night lets me consciously work on solutions while I'm sleeping. So when the day begins, I hit the ground running.
Mr. Mitch Carlson, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. And I hope and looking forward for more empowering books. So, Mr. Mitch, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books?
Yes, they can go to Amazon and find, just punch in Mitch Carson or The Silent Salesman. And I've got another book coming up on the speaking industry very soon. So I would look forward to that support as well.
You are most welcome to come back and let's promote your upcoming book, Mr. Mitch. So, people, let's support Mr. Mitch because if you support him, as I said, more empowering books, more coaching to come. And Mr. Mitch, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon. So, Mr. Mitch,
Yes, sir.
thank you for the connection.